Good morning and welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social. I am Graham Hughes, I hope. Yes, let's just check. Yes, definitely Graham Hughes. It is Wednesday, the 23rd of October 2024. Well done on making it this far through this rather bizarre year. This is the biggest year for democracy in the world ever. We've had elections in India, we've had elections in the UK, we've had elections in France, we've had elections across the EU, we have had elections in literally half of the world's population has been involved in some kind of election or other this year. However, the big one, the one that's probably the most consequential, pains me to say it, I'd rather it was the UK one that was consequential, but it's not. It's the US, the US election, which is going to basically set the terms for either the our negotiated end of the world, or just to continue as things are. Gradually, I suppose, getting better, little by little. When they turn off the last coal-powered fire station, power station, and fire station, obviously, because it's all linked. Things slowly get better in terms of child mortality going down all over the world, literacy rates going up all over the world, things incrementally getting better as civil wars around the world fizzle out, although it doesn't feel like that when we are bombarded every day with bad news from around the world. That is the nature of news. Nothing bad happened in Burkina Faso is never going to be a news headline. Today. Sorry, nothing bad happened in Burkina Faso today. Not ever. But yeah, that's never going to be a news headline now, is it? So today we're going to be talking at the start, and we'll move on to other things, I'm sure, as you join the chat and, tell me what you want to talk about. If you want to talk about something completely different and random, you can write it in there. I can't say that I'm going to go off on a mad tangent talking about it, but I might. If you want to join the chat with Vortex Lisa and Pygmalion and Sheepskin, Leapshin. Oh, God, it's early, innit? Good morning from the Santaram, says Roger. And we've also got Plum Duff, who is developing nuclear underpants. If you would like to join them, as I just flashed up the subscribe thing, just subscribe, and you wait for about 30 seconds, and then you can join everyone in the chat. But be lovely, or we'll kick you off. Right, so we're going to be talking about the row that has erupted over the last few days, but particularly today for some reason, over the fact that Labour, there was a Labour head of operations called Sofia Patel, who has said, with volunteers, anyone coming over to America to help the Democrats door knock, canvass, you're very welcome to. You have to pay for your own flights, you have to pay for your own food and drink, but we can sort you out somewhere to stay, as in you'll probably be staying on the floor of someone's house, on the couch. And this is perfectly legal. This is a perfectly legal thing to do. It is something that representatives of the Labour Party have done in an independent, right? They've done it as independent people for elections for decades in the US. In fact, the US Republicans sent some of their people over to, well, they didn't send them. They went of their own accord. They're volunteers. They're going on in a voluntary capacity. All right. They're independent capacity. So sent them over to Brazil to go and fight the good fight, the bad fight for Bolsonaro, who, as we all know, lost in the 2022 election and is in jail. He should be in jail. I think he's in jail. I don't know. I hope he's in jail. But the point being is that this is nothing new, right? But of all the people to get vexed about this, all the people that you could think of in your head who might get really upset about foreign interference in American elections, interference in inverted commas. I mean, Putin, Elon Musk, Rupert Murdoch, to name 3 billionaires who have consistently interfered in American politics, consistently interfered in American democracy for decades, especially the last 2. Not Elon Musk. He's only been doing it for a few years, but he loves it. He loves it. He loves jumping up and down like a dickhead in front of the American flag. Actually, Tim Waltz said he was jumping up and down like a dipshit yesterday, which he was. The guy's not wrong, but it seems to be open season now to use swear words if you are a political candidate, because Trump did. Trump said shit. So now anyone could say it. I can't. I'll probably get demonetized for saying that. Happy birthday to Sitch Monkey. And also, Scott says, should set up a lottery to send people 5-star with a trip to Disneyland included while canvassing? Yeah, Scott, because that would be legal. Apparently. I don't know. Anyway, the reason why Elon Musk has kicked off about Labour doing this and therefore given the nudge to the Republican Party, who have actually put in an official complaint. They're putting in an official complaint about members of the Labour Party going over in an independent capacity and campaigning for the Democrats. Like, it's going to make such a huge difference. Whereas, you know, the Republicans have got all the evil billionaires in the world on their side. And the thing about billionaires is they're nearly all evil. They're nearly all like proper freaking evil. But I've been seeing some absolutely mad stuff over the last couple of days. There was Tulsi Gabbard has now officially switched to the Republicans, and she is now officially. This is a woman who ran for the Democrats. She was a Democratic congresswoman, and now she's flipped to the Republicans. I read an article, a long piece this morning on CNN about Jewish voters voting for Trump. Jewish voters voting for the guy who said that the neo-Nazis marching in Charlottesville, who were literally chanting the words, "The Jews will not replace us," which is something I believe, I don't know, how would you stop them from replacing you? I don't think they are, because the Jews aren't very evangelical. It's very hard to become Jewish. But let's just say, for instance, you wanted to stop that potentially ever happening. How do you stop the Jews from replacing you, little Mr. Neo-Nazi? How do you stop that exactly? Would you round them up, maybe put them in somewhere where they're all together, where they can't interfere with the outside world? Maybe that'll cost a lot of money for, food and drink and stuff. So maybe you could put them to work, tell them that work brings freedom. Maybe you could, kill 6 million of them, like what the Nazis did. Maybe that's what those marchers in Charlottesville actually meant when they said the Jews will not replace us. Those same marchers are the people that Donald Trump has said, on the record, they're fine people. Fine people. And there's Jewish people seeing this and going, yeah, that Trump guy, he's the man for me. The guy who says he's going to be a dictator on day one. I sure hope that leopard don't eat my face. For the record, the vast majority of Jewish people in the US vote Democrat quite sensibly, because a lot of them are very well educated and aren't complete idiots. But how stupid, like seriously, how stupid do you have to be to go, yeah, I'll side with the neo-Nazi. I'll be fine. I mean, Jared Kushner, he's Jewish, isn't he? So, it'll be all right. I'm sure it'll be all right. It'll be fine. Everything will be fine. Everything. Anyway, so I just wanted to highlight the rank hypocrisy, the hank hypocrisy of the Republicans, of the MAGA movement, of Donald Trump, of Elon Musk, in complaining about foreign interference, like on this tiny level. But the problem is, and I know we don't want to think about this, and if you want to just skip forward 5 minutes on this and just stick your fingers in your ears and go, la, 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 and hope it all goes away, there is a chance Trump's going to win this. And if he does, then, the UK government's got to have relations with him. Although relations with Trump usually end with sexual assault. So it doesn't bode well for the British government. On any level. But yeah, we've got to, but then again, I think they're making a little bit of a mountain out of this molehill. And the reason why I say this is because before Trump was elected in 2016 and before Boris Johnson was made Prime Minister of this country in 2019, two things that we thought would never happen, and then we had a pandemic. Before he did, Boris Johnson slacked off Donald Trump something wrong. But then as soon as he was in charge, he was like, yeah, I love him, he's great, he's awesome. Diplomatic diplomacy, as Josh Ackland never said. Anyway, so it does all seem a bit rich for the Republicans to be going down this route. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference no matter who wins. To be honest with you, if Trump wins, all bets are off anyway, because he's probably going to turn America inward in itself to fight amongst itself. He has said that he wants the army to round up and possibly shoot the enemies that he sees. And everyone's like, so you mean like foreign enemies coming from other countries to mess up America? No. He literally means Nancy Pelosi. He literally means Adam Schiff. Like, he literally means these people. He says it. He says it out loud. So, yeah. My God. It's squeaky bum time. It's squeaky bum time. Anyway, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be a big issue. I think everyone's going to have forgotten about it in a week's time, like most things. Oh, my mum's watching. Hi, Mum. Hope you're feeling better. My mum's not feeling so good at the moment. So if you want to send her your wishes, you can send her. Send her your goodwill. Did you say Hare Krishna is Jewish, Graham? No. Hare Krishna's part of Hinduism. What? Svax, dude, it may not look like... it looks like you and not just your way, but to demonetization, but channel ban, not mincing your words today. Well, I don't think they're going to ban my channel, really. I mean, they can have a go. They can watch what I just said. I didn't say anything racist. I don't think. Graham, please stop saying the lump of lard is going to win. It's doing my digestive system in. Viv, okay, and look, I'm very sorry, and I don't think that it's 100% bolted on that he's going to win, okay? I don't think that. However, I think we need to be realistic, and it would be a bit weird for this as a politics channel to just not even entertain the concept that he might, because this isn't like, a biblical sort of church reading thing where it's all about the feels. This is about the reality of the world in which we live in, and it looks like he's got a decent chance of winning this bastard thing, which is mind-blowing considering how horrible he is and the fact that he's a rapist, he's a nonce, he's a sex offender, he's got a criminal record as long as you are, he's indicted, 92 times indicted. President of the United States, former President of the United States, disgraced guy who mounted a riot against his own Parliament building, which resulted in injuries to 140 cops and 9 people dying. 9 people dying, some of them police. So if you vote for the Republicans, I just guess you hate the police, eh? I guess you don't want to just defund the police. I think you want to decease the police. See what I did there? Yeah, but that's what the Republicans want, because they just want a country in which you are legally allowed, obliged perhaps, to shoot anyone who disagrees with you. Freedom of speech. Yeah. It just so happens that some speech is freer than others. It's just the way it is. Johnny Copperhead, woo! Thank you very much for the first super chat of the morning. That is very kind of you. Even Trump's wife doesn't have relations with him. Yes. Well, he did cheat on her with a porn star. Anyway, everyone's saying, get better soon, Graham's mum. Get well soon, Mrs. Hughes. Best wishes, Graham's mum. You have a wonderful and beautiful son. Oh, that's very nice of you, David. Get well soon, Graham's mum. And everyone's giving a bit of love to my mum at the moment, which is nice. Apparently, Labour is a far-left party. Anyone told Keir Starmer, says Lee Corn. Well, yeah, that was the other thing. They were talking about Labour being a far-left party. Yes, it's a totally communist party. It always has been, especially in, the late 40s when it, started the secret weapons project to start nuclear weapons and oversaw the partition of India, which led to 1 million people dying. Fun times. Sean, member for 5 months. Well done, Sean. I need to get a thing that says member. Maybe that'd be a bit weird. The left are held hostage by the voting systems. Yeah. In America, if you are on the right, you don't need as many votes as you do as if you're on the left. And there's loads of things that you can do to actually have a minority have power over the majority. And we're not just talking about the Electoral College. There's also a hideous amount of gerrymandering that goes on in America, which is some of the districts they put together are quite frankly ridiculous. I think there's a place in Detroit. I think it was Detroit or Chicago. I think it was Detroit. And it was imagine a map of a city. And they have the city grids in America. It's not very original. They have, or organic. They have this sort of, they had a rectangle at the top. and then they had a rectangle at the bottom, and then they had this little umbilical cord between them, because the constituencies, basically, they have to be contiguous. It was like a disused railway line that they drew a line along that no one lived on. And they went, yeah, that's part of the district. And then it went out to this. And the Democrats do this as well. I think it's gotta stop, because it doesn't help the Democrats. It's like Labour going, we're not gonna repair the first past the post system. And I'm like, you've only been in power for 33 of the last 100 years. This system is not working for you. The majority of people in this country are progressive. So in America, you've got the electoral college, which is undemocratic. You've got the fact that you get 2 senators for every state. I've spoken about this before. Ridiculous. Wyoming has less than 500,000 people living there. They get 2 senators. California has 40 million people. It has 2 senators. That's not fair. That's not very democratic. Gotta say, not very. It doesn't feel very democratic to me. Not really, power to the people, or power to the small rural communities in which no one lives. Bit weird. But the other thing they do is this thing in the Senate where they filibuster, or threaten to filibuster. And I've spoken about this before. It's absolutely ridiculous. They need 60 out of the 100 senators to say, yeah, we can go ahead with the vote. And in a Senate that's split pretty much 50-50, nothing ever goes through to debate. They're just sitting on their asses all day. I don't know what they do at their time. Well, I do. They call people up and say, give us money, give us money. Can you give us some money? Can you give us some money? I'm actually on the mailing list for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And it's hilarious. Like, I get about 3 emails a day going, we need your money! Give us your money! I want all your money! I want to spend all your money! I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I probably can't even give them money legally. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't have any money to give them. But if I did, I'd be like, bloody hell, they ask a lot, don't they? And this is what a lot of senators and members of the House of Representatives in America spend most of their time doing, asking for money for their re-election campaign. But Kamala Harris has taken over $1 billion so far in party donations. Wow, that's a lot of stickers. That is a lot of stickers. Anyway, right, let's see what we're talking about. Remember, are we talking about Palmer again? Says, yeah. So a presidential candidate stands up and starts talking about the size of a dead golfer's cock. I mean, oh my God, imagine if Kamala turned up, and I'm sorry, my mum's watching this. I probably shouldn't say this, but imagine she got up and started talking about the size of, I don't know, like, Venus Williams' vagina. You'd be like, what the hell? What is wrong with you? Why would you? What? That is just so weird. Why are you so weird? Why can't you stop being weird? But the thing is, right, and before we move on to other topics, I do want to point this out. The weird line needs to come back, okay? Because the whole Trump is a fascist, which he is. He's a Nazi. He wants to be a dictator from day one. He's going to give loads and loads of subsidies to the oil companies to drill. He is going to add $7.5 trillion to the national debt in America, and he's going to get rid of 5% of all foreign workers. 5% of all workers in America because they are undocumented migrants. He wants to use the army to round them up and send them back where they came from somehow. You know, a lot of countries don't accept flights with refugees on them, or people who have come. They don't accept repatriation flights. They don't allow them to land in their country from the US or anywhere. I don't know. But like, how do you get the people back? Like, what's the practical steps? So you round them up with the military. You put them on a plane. This is going to cost billions of dollars to do this, right? And obviously it's going to massively mash the American economy just as much as the massive tariffs that Donald Trump wants to put on any goods coming from China. He's talking about like a 500% tariff. A tariff he thinks is something that's paid by China. It is not. It is paid by Americans, American companies importing the stuff. They will pass on those charges to the consumers, and that money goes to the US government. So what he's effectively saying is he wants to raise sales tax by 500%. At least. Because he doesn't know what he's talking about. I say sales tax. Sales tax is only 15% or 20%, depending on what state you're in. I mean, like, this is a 500% of the cost of the product. So you're talking about an iPhone leaping up to $4,000 for an iPhone. This is what he thinks is good economic sense. Getting rid of a fifth of the workforce, making everything more expensive. And also, what happens when you put tariffs on everything? The countries that you sell stuff to, they put tariffs on in return. Great! Do you know what that means? You're not going to sell much stuff out of America. Am I going into like economics in like a real detailed level? Should I have a blackboard behind me with loads of like quadratic equations on? Is this complicated? Because I don't think it's complicated. I think it's like, okay, so you've got 100% of the workforce, you got rid of 5% of the workforce. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a good idea. I've got a feeling in my bones, forget about my head. Let's talk about me feels. It's not a good idea. Not a good idea. Johnny Copperhead, thank you very much for the £5 super chat, my friend. That is very kind of you. I think the total amount a UK party can spend on a general election is about half of what one candidate will spend fighting for a seat in Congress. Yeah, Johnny, and it's got more and more ridiculous over the years. So you have these things called political action committees, which were started up as a way of getting around this donation law that you couldn't actually donate X amount to one candidate. And they got around that with these political action committees, which wasn't great. But then the Supreme Court, about 14 years ago now, had a case called the Citizens United case, 13 years ago, I think. It was January 2011. Look it up. I might be wrong. The Citizens United case went before the Supreme Court, which basically means that any corporation or individual can give as much money as they like to any political candidate. And when you're on the side, the party that has all the billionaires on their side, getting that money is quite easy. People were like, "Oh my God, Trump is being, he's been sued for $500 million. How is he ever going to pay this?" And I'm sitting there going, "Someone will pay it for him." Oh, they did. Funny that. Anyway, right, let's move on quick. We've been talking about this the whole time, and I'm kind of bored of it. I just wish Trump would just shut up and go away in one way or another. Hey, read between the lines, peeps. Right, so we're going to go over to the papers for a moment. Just to say, hang on, we've got a couple of super chats that have come in. I'll address the super chats. We've got, thank you very much to Johnny Copperhead, by the way, for that last super chat. David Faulkner, all the way over in Hong Kong. Thank you very much, David. 78 Hong Kong dollars. Here in Asia, the news focus on the 16th BRICS summit in Kazan, Tatarstan, working to build a united development bank for future international platform, attractive for universal investors and global cooperation. Yeah, the BRICS Summit is something that we should have probably talked about a bit more on this channel. We should have talked about it last night in Geoscope, but I mean, Ollie did his best. He was feeling really under the weather. I felt so sorry for him last night. But he did that. He did that. I think he went straight to bed afterwards with a bottle of rum, which is fair enough. You're not feeling great, but. Yeah, the BRICS Summit, one of the things that we hoped after the invasion of Ukraine was that, and international sanctions against Russia, and then the fact that he's a wanted man, that Putin is a wanted man around the world, one of the things that we hoped was that he would become an international pariah, but there he is at the BRICS Summit. And no one's arresting him. He kind of wanted it so he wouldn't feel free to go anywhere or meet anyone or do anything. He'll be just trapped in Moscow for the rest of his life. Staying away from the windows. You know what I say? Kamala, FTW, for the win. Trump, for the window. Right, let's get that around the algorithm. Okay, so I'm just going to go into the papers again. Met Chiefs call to shield armed police from trials. Now, there was an idea that was floated yesterday on the James O'Brien show by one of the callers of having grand juries, reintroducing grand juries, which is the idea. It's not as grand as it sounds. It should be called a little jury, maybe. What you do is you decide if there is enough evidence to take something to trial rather than having a whole trial. And in cases like this, in which a police officer shot someone and was done for murder, but then it turned out that the person that he shot was actually a wanted criminal who had a history of shooting people. It's kind of like, yeah, that still didn't come out till after the trial, and that was a lot of money and a lot of a lot of anguish, I guess, for people not knowing, because as far as we knew up to that point, this black guy had been stopped in London and then just randomly shot by a police officer. It looked pretty bad. But then when you dug down into the details, it was like, okay. And this one occasion, On this one occasion, I could see why that police officer thought their life was being threatened. However, black people are way more likely to be pulled over by the police than white people. They're way more likely to be stopped and searched by than white people. They just are. Like, we have an institutionally racist police force in this country, and I hate to say that. I wish it wasn't true, but it is. And that doesn't, what's happened in this court case hasn't diminished from that at all. That's still the case, and there's still loads more to be done. But spending that much money on a trial when we've got such a backlog in the criminal justice system in this country because of 14 years of Tory mismanagement and chaos, I can see why people might go, well, is there another way of doing this? Is there a way of streamlining this so we can say, is this worth taking to trial via a grand jury, which is basically, at the moment, you have your evidence to say that this person is guilty, and it goes before a magistrate or a judge, and the judge basically says, yeah, there's enough evidence to take this to trial. But to have that presented to a jury might come up with different outputs. But I don't know if that'll make more of a headache or less, but trials are incredibly expensive and they take a bloody long time, a full trial. So a mini trial beforehand to say, is this worth taking to trial, might be good. But then you've got to make it hard to put officers on trial. Police leaders urge number 10. I don't agree with that. I think that if a police officer has done something wrong, I think it should be quite easy to put them on trial if they've done something wrong. But, maybe thinking about that grand jury, which we used to have until, the 1930s. We had grand juries in this country, which is a precursor to a proper trial. All the Trump's shit, that all went through a grand jury. They looked at all the evidence and went, yeah, this can go to trial. AI, major threat to thousands of artists, including Tom York of Radiohead and Julianne Moore there, looking resplendent. She's one of mine. She's a ginge. She's a ginge. She's going to be in the ginger enclosure in the zoo that the aliens put us in. It's going to be me, Julianne. There's going to be Karen Gillan. It's going to be great. Unfortunately, we're going to be lumped in with bloody Ed Sheeran, aren't we? Jesus Christ. Well, you can't win them all. Okay, so ministers consider non-profit water firms. Yes, please. And also, they're talking about getting rid of Ofwat as well. Please, yes, or replacing it with something useful. But while it remains the case that it is cheaper to pay the fines than it is, it's hard to get caught in the first place because you just lie about how much shit you're putting in the rivers. And then if you pay the fines, it's cheaper than clearing it up. What are you going to do? Sewage action at last. Toothless water watchdog faces axe in new Labour plan, as I just mentioned. And then big up to Keir for letting me out early. There you go. It wasn't Keir who let you out early, mate. It was the Tories overcrowding the prisons. Also, I should jump up here because there's a weird story in the Star saying they've been tangoed. I think they're trying to say they've been silenced because of joyless crybabies have a hissy fit over a fake tan story, and they've got a picture of a classic Oompa Loompa, not Hugh Grant Oompa Loompa, a classic. Who's the guy who played the Oompa Loompas? He played all the Oompa Loompas in the terrible Johnny Depp movie. I forgot what his name is now. Anyway, Dev, is it? Oh, I've forgotten. I'll do my best for you. This is about the pride of Britain, in the mirror there. And then we've got the, the toilet press. We've got the Daily Mail. What you must do in the next 7 days, capitals, red letters, to beat Labour's brutal tax raid. Okay. Police officer who shot gangster has price on his head. A criminal past of Chris Cabba is laid bare at last. Marksman cleared of murder, flees home and faces lifetime under threat. Perhaps. And then we've got who are these? Eddie Redmayne. He'll be in my enclosure, won't he? Along with Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch is a secret ginger. Alzheimer's wonder drug faces NHS block. Breakthrough treatment. Donanemab, well, I can't even read that, is ruled too expensive to be prescribed. Which is a shame. But is it a wonder drug? I don't know. NICE have to make an assessment and go, is it worth the money? Does it actually stop people getting Alzheimer's, or just slow it down? And the last few years of having Alzheimer's or dementia ain't much fun. I wouldn't want it to be slowed down if it was me. So I don't know. I don't know enough about that. But there you go. There's Eddie Redmayne there, and he's got a jacket on. Oh, 'cause it's Day of the Jackal. See what they've done there? Oh, top reporting from the Daily Tory graph there. Officer who shot Cabba may lose job despite verdict. That's on the 5th column over here. 6th column even. Oh my God, it's the 6th columnist. Which might happen. I don't know. They're going to have an internal investigation, I'm sure. You know, a military tribunal. Sorry, not that. A disciplinary tribunal to see, the story behind there. Gangsters 10K price on gun cop. I mean, why would you go to jail forever as a cop killer for £10,000? I have no idea. I mean, you'd have to be pretty bloody desperate, wouldn't you? I hope the guy is okay. I don't believe in the death penalty in this country, and he's been found not guilty by a court of law. So, not much I can do about that, but I hope he gets the protection that he needs. HSBC boss draws East-West divide to steer lender through Chinese tensions. And this is about... I have no idea. And that's the Kazan summit that our friend in Hong Kong was talking about a moment ago. And Xi and Putin hail BRICS bond. There you go. It's a good bit of alliteration there, BRICS bond. But yeah, David was talking about this a moment ago. It's not great. It's not great. Ooh, super chat animation. Even though there wasn't a super chat. Someone quick, give me a super chat so we can use that animation. I have to pay every time I use it. I don't. It's a joke. Rusty Goff. What? Christopher Bowles. Rather than grand juries, which are not expert panels, how about making the CPS more accountable for charging decisions? Yeah, that would come. Plunter says, well, that 30 minutes went quickly, as the actual said to the bishop. £1 million for one tablet properly. They always try their luck to do Big Pharma. Yes, they do. I mean, this is the problem with Big Pharma. They will charge whatever they can get away with, which in America is literally they sell inhalers, Ventolin inhalers for asthma. They sell them for $500. $500 for a bit of plastic. That costs less than a tenner here in the UK. Clean teeth, shoes on, thanks all. Good job, Viv. I'll be in the Ginger Compound with you, Graham. I have talents. I can fart and burp. Happy birthday. Hurrah, Dave Skelly. Can't wait to invite you in. And we'll be there with the Little Mermaid and Jessica Rabbit and Cuddles and Dimples' mum. Woo! Can't wait. We got Alan the Inquirer saying, Nick, back to Nick. Say that when you make stuff for a living and a giant firm copies your work to sell cheaper, undercutting you, which is something that we need strong, effective regulations to stop. And the idea that, you know, it is a free-for-all with AI at the moment is it's not great, is it? Before we go, I do want to tell you about my experience yesterday with AI. So I have a script that I wrote years ago called Tallyman, and it's set in the 1980s. I wrote it before Stranger Things was a thing, and it's about a group of lads who go into basically the underworld under Liverpool, and one of them has to retrieve his brother's lost soul. And it's got, you know, it works on all these different levels. However, that's not the important thing. The important thing is I only had a PDF copy of this, so I put my PDF copy into my script writing software, which so I could edit it a little bit, because I'm going to submit it to the BBC Writers Competition or thing next month, which you should have a look at if you're an aspiring writer yourself. And so I put it in, and for some reason it put loads of spaces in where they didn't belong, like in the middle of words. So there'll be a word and it would have a space everywhere on sort of the right hand side of the page. It has a space. So I put this into ChatGPT and say, look at this document, get rid of all the errant spaces, all the spaces that shouldn't be there, right? And it should have just gone, here you go. I put all the... It couldn't do it. 40 attempts it took. In the end, I'm like, oh, forget it. I'll just do it myself. It just couldn't get its head around the idea that you put the words together. I'm like, find the word that's spelt incorrectly, have a look to the left and right of that word, and if there's another word that if it was put with that word, it would make a real word, and then give me it. And it's like, okay, then. And it puts every other word in the whole document together, smushes them together. It was so infuriating. It was like trying to get an idiot child to do your homework for you. And it was such a simple task. It was a really simple task. And I'm writing in to ChatGPT, tell me what I need to type in order for you to do this right. And it's like, I'm very sorry. I appreciate your frustration. I will try and do it right this time. And it just spit it out. And then this time, I'm outputting it as HTML. because it's easier to transfer from HTML into the document rather than into the editing software than to a PDF. And it decided to smush all the CSS together. So it's just gibberish. Like, you've taken my script, you made it gibberish. Anyway, AI shite. Just do it yourself, especially if it's a big job. Kind of sounds like you need regex, yeah. Open PDF in Word and copy and paste it elsewhere. Nina Hathaway, you keep correcting yourself when you say Kamala and say Kamala. You were right the first time. I try and say Kamala, like a comma, la, because that's what I've been told to say by Americans. I know they pronounce comma differently. And talking of Americans, before we go, 6 o'clock tonight, we'll be doing an episode of Stateside with Mikey Famine, so please join us for that. But before then, at 12 o'clock, I know I'm more excited about this than I should be. It is Rishi Sunak's final question time as leader of the opposition. So please join us for that as we lament the passing of, the political passing of Rishi Sunak. And we try and decide whether he's actually going to stay on as an MP in Richmond, in Yorkshire, or not. Whether he's actually just going to bugger off to California, his forever home, and we'll never see or hear from him again. Oh, well, you never know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll hopefully see you at 12, if not at 6 later today. You're very welcome to join the conversation then. And until then, I'll say thanks for the super chats, thanks for the chat. And until next time, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.